I've got 3 headphone-based audiophile systems to share with you that are all coming in under $2,000. I've got one under $500, one under $1,000, and one under $2,000. So grab your piggy bank, smash it open, and let's get you on your way to Audio Nirvana. Getting into the audiophile hobby can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. There's so many products on the market and so many variables in terms of where you should put your money. Should you put more towards the DAC, the headphone amp, the headphones? And so I wanted to keep things really simple and give you my thoughts about some systems that you can build for certain budgets to get the best possible bang for buck and either start your journey or continue your journey in this wonderful world of audio and enjoying music. This first system can be built for under $400 and we're going to kick it off with this as the DAC. This is the Schiit Modi or Modi Plus. And not only is it a very affordable DAC at just $129, it's also really compact as well. It's very simple, it just takes USB, coaxial or optical in, and it gives you a pair of RCA outs. That's pretty much all it does. But it does it really well, it sounds great, and so this is where we're going to kick things off. From there, we're going to go to this guy, and this is the Schiit Magni. This is the matching headphone amp, so as you'd expect, it's also very affordable and very compact. Now obviously there are some other great DACs and headphone amps on the market, but the combination of looks, size and price on the Schiit Magni and Modi is very, very hard to beat. This guy's been updated just recently. This is the older Magni Plus. There's now just one called the Magni, and at $119, it's a fantastic headphone amp to get you started on your way. Again, it's pretty simple. It's designed to go with the Modi, and therefore all you're going to have is a pair of RCAs coming in from the Modi DAC, a pair of RCAs coming out if you want to run a set of active speakers or some other device down the chain. This will work as a preamp, but more importantly for what I'm recommending here, this is also a fantastic single-ended 6.3mm output headphone amp. It'll drive IEMS or headphones, anything you want to throw at it. That of course means that we need a headphone, and here it is, the HEADPHONE HE400 SE. For $149, you're gonna have a hard time finding a better headphone than this one. It's an open back, planar magnetic headphone. It does take a little bit of juice to drive, but the Magni and Modi stack is going to do this one just right. And so that's going to bring you to a grand total of $397 worth of product, and for that money, you're well and truly on your audiophile journey. Now it is worth making some special mentions here though. I did consider putting the Drop and HEADPHONE HER7DX headphone in here. That's a closed back, it's excellent, it's also very affordable. And another product to have a think about here is if you want to go down the path of tube amplifiers, you could pair the Modi Plus DAC up with an amplifier like the X2O MT601 or MT602. They're hybrid tube amps, they're still going to be great with a headphone like this one, but they're going to give you a dash of tube flavour as well. I personally like the MT601 the most, which is great because it's also cheaper, but both the MT601 and the MT602 are excellent. And of course there's links down below to the reviews of all these products if you want to check them out. This time we're going to keep things under $1,000, and that means we've got to go a little bit wider afield with our brands that we're going to combine here. And we're going to start things off with the Topping E50. The Topping E50 doesn't look particularly special, it's a little black box of a DAC, but the sound that it outputs is absolutely fantastic. At $269, you're going to have a hard time beating this one without spending significantly more money. And so we're going to take that and pair it up with your choice of 2 amps, and these are actually both from the same company, and the only difference is whether you want single-ended, like a 6.3mm connection, or balanced, like a 4.4mm connection. For the record, I don't think it matters if you go single-ended or balanced. Both of these amplifiers will accept XLR in or RCA in, and the output, balanced or single-ended, is nothing to do with what comes into the back of the headphone amp. That's a topic for a whole different discussion, but the point is, choose whichever one you want based on the connectors you have on your headphones, or that you're going to have on your headphones if you're buying them fresh. And so the amps we're talking about are the Geshelli Labs Arcl 2.5XL or Airish 2/E2. What I've got here is an Arcl 2.5XL. It's got the single-ended 6.3mm connection. The Airish is identical, it's just got an XLR connection here instead. The beauty of it is they both sound just as good as one another. and you can pick either of them up starting from $220. I say starting from because I've got the wooden casing here. That does cost a little bit more, but you can keep it at just $220 by buying it with the painted aluminium case. It still looks fantastic, performs exactly the same, but it keeps the money in your pocket. So we've got a fantastic DAC, we've got a fantastic amp, and we're going to need to pair that up with some fantastic headphones. And that's why I just took these off my wall. This is the Sivga SV023. The SV023 is a wonderful headphone. It's a high impedance headphone, which also means that if you add tube down the track, you can really enjoy these with something like an X-Duo TA26S or just a regular TA26 if that's what you find. And these are a beautiful, engaging and fun headphone. Wonderful bass extension, nice and crisp and detailed up top. They're one of my favorites at this type of budget, which by the way is $499. So you're spending a fair bit more on the headphones here than you are on the other components, but I think these are a really worthwhile investment that's going to scale well if you update other components later on. And so this should bring you to a grand total, if my maths is correct, of $988, and it's going to give you a really nice setup for less than that $1,000 mark. Now, of course, none of the systems I'm talking about here include things like RCA cables or XLR cables, and that's because you're going to buy those once and use them forever. So I'm not including those as part of this. You might already have some anyway. Moving on then to my next category, and before we get there, I should mention one of the DACs that I looked at including here was the excellent SMSL SU9 Ultra, but I haven't included that in any of these bundles because it's a bit of a fiddly one to get your hands on. If you're looking for an excellent DAC that's going to keep the next system I'm going to recommend even cheaper still, the SU9 Ultra is worth a look, but it has to be the Ultra version, and that's part of the problem. There are so many versions of the SU9 that I didn't want to include it because I don't want you to buy the wrong one. And so it's time to take the next step up and get into the sub $2,000 category. And for this one, we're starting to get really serious. We're sticking with Geshelli Labs again, but this time on the DAC side of things. And what I've got here is the Geshelli Labs J2S using the 4499 DAC chip from AKM. And I specify that because there's a number of different versions of the J2S. You need to make sure you order it with the 4499 DAC chip and ideally with the upgraded op amps as well. And that's going to bring this DAC to a total of $680-ish US. I say 680-ish because there are a few different variables you can think about, and I'll leave a link to the review of this one down below so you can understand those variables better. But the core point of this is you want to start with the J2S and the AK4499 version. Everything else you can kind of work around in terms of op amps, that's being the chips that go on the inside to output the sound. You can tweak those things later on, but you can't tweak the DAC chip, so you want the 4499. And starting off with a serious DAC like this, we then need a serious amp to go with it. You could of course go for Geshelli Labs' own A3 Pro amplifier, which is wonderful, but I'm going to go just one step better and suggest the Auna S17 Pro. This guy comes in at $699 US. It's a bit more powerful than the A3 Pro and probably just a little bit more resolving as well. It's a really serious piece of kit, as both of them actually are, but this one in particular is outstanding. And so with this amplifier coming in at $699 US, we're now sitting just under the $1,400 mark, but I'm going to throw another wrinkle in here and give you two different choices. You can either go the solid state path with the Auna S17 Pro here, or you can go down the tube path. Where are you? How do you lose an entire tube amp? That shouldn't be possible. I'm either going blind or crazy or both. I cannot find the amplifier I was going to tell you about anywhere in my office. I'd cleaned up just a little bit too well, but here it is. This is the X-Duo TA20 Plus. This is a hybrid tube amp. It's an absolute beast of an amp in terms of sound quality and general performance. It's also lovely to interact with. And so this is going to be my alternative option if you want a bit of tubiness rather than going pure solid state in the Auna S17 Pro. I think the S17 Pro is probably the better amp in terms of technicalities and resolution, but this one is wonderfully enjoyable and definitely worth thinking about. It's also a bit cheaper at $499 US, and so it's shaving a full $200 off the total price we're up to now, meaning that the J2S DAC from Geshelli Labs plus the TA20 Plus is going to bring you to under $1,200 US. And that buys us a little bit of wiggle room to play with our headphones and still keep us below that $2,000 US mark. So let's take a look at the headphones we might choose. This is the HEADPHONE Ananda Nano, and it comes in at $599 US. It's a planar magnetic, it's relatively easy to drive. Both of those amps we've talked about are going to drive this without breaking a sweat. And so at $599 plus the DAC and the amp, you're coming in at about $1,968 for the solid state setup or $1,768 for the tube setup. As to which one's better, it's hard to say. I might actually favour the tube setup slightly with these headphones. Now, if you do happen to find a deal on the older Ananda Stealth, the Ananda Stealth had a different tuning and one that I really liked. So if you're getting yourself a bargain on those, that's also a great choice. And then two other honourable mention headphones are the ETA O2. They're an unusual looking headphone. They haven't got the build quality perhaps, or at least the feel, the fit and finish of something like the Ananda. But these are a lovely headphone, as are the Sennheiser HD660S2. Those are the three headphones I consider, but the Ananda Nano does get the nod. And actually, I should also throw in the recently reviewed and wonderful Virum Audio Virum 2. So there's a handful of different headphone options for you to consider, and all of those are going to keep you under $2,000 US with the Geshelli Labs J2S DAC and also either of those headphone amps. And I think we might pause this one here because $2,000 is kind of a nice cap for our entry level, somewhat affordable type audiophile systems. But if you want to see what I would recommend if you have even more budget to spend, if money is no object, wouldn't that be nice? If you want to see my recommendations there, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell too. Thank you to all of the channel Patreon members that helped to make this video possible. And if you want to become a part of that community too, you can click the link here or down in the description below, go through, check out the tiers and the benefits available. And if you've enjoyed this video, you'll probably also get a kick out of the one up here. For now, thanks for watching, happy listening, and I'll see you here next time on Passion for Sound.